The Liberty Bells, Liberty's female aeronautics team, had the opportunity for the third year in a row to participate in the 38th Annual Air Race Classic, one of the nation's most historic cross-country races.
Just the fact that this race is the oldest transcontinental air race still going on. Like, it started in the 1920s, and it's still going on, and like people like Amelia Earhart and one of my like aviation idols, Betty Green, raced it, things like that, just way back in like the 50s and 60s all the way on to today, and I'm a part of that history.
Team members Melody Dowlern, Alicia Isaacson, Jessica Dyer, and Megan Grupp were selected among their peers to represent Liberty at the Air Race Classic. They flew in pairs in 2 planes, and the team spent 7 months and countless hours to prepare for the race.
For training for the race, we started off by a tryout. My partner and I, we actually tried out together.
It takes a lot of, not just like planning, like, oh, this is how we're gonna fly, but just a lot of overall like understanding of the airplane that you're flying, the crew that you're working with, like a lot of things that are specific to you. Like, we know our airplanes, we fly them every single day. These are the same 4 that we fly every day. We have a lot of training in these airplanes. We have a lot of experience to tap into. And so we were able to just build on that as a whole, and like, what about our airplane makes it a better performer than someone else's airplane, and let's maximize on that.
This year's race presented a unique challenge for the Liberty team, as they were presented with heights of over 11,000 feet when they typically fly at heights of around 4,000 feet. The mountainous terrain of the West Coast was a daunting challenge.
I was anxious because we were in an airplane that isn't really designed for the mountains.
So you have to do a lot of prep work before about what to do when you run into this. We have a lot of instructors who have flown in the mountains before, so we talk to them and ask for their advice on certain things.
After months of preparation, the team started on their 2,700-mile race across the country.
We used about 3 days to get across the U.S. and there were just so many learning experiences and challenges that I've never faced before, just training out here in Lynchburg.
We had weather every single day. The first day we had a lot of rain, precipitation.
We flew from Concord, California up to Klamath Falls and in that area, and my partner and I, we decided to continue on flyby to continue, and so we ended up at Elko, Nevada, and for our second leg. And when we were there, we called a briefer, and he told us there was a lot of weather coming in, and that was just the point where you had to make this go no go decision on whether or not to continue on another leg, which was over some high terrain.
In the race, the flyers were given the discretion to fly as many legs as they could from sunrise to sunset, each leg consisting of around 200 miles.
You just decide, I have to leave, and if I leave, I can't come back, or I have to stay and I'm gonna get stuck for 2 days.
There's a lot of pressure from the other teams because you see somebody else taking off and you're like, okay, well, why are they taking off and I'm not? What do they see that I don't? We had to be careful because we didn't want to get icing in the mountains.
And so that decision where if I leave and I have to put down somewhere, we're out of the race. Or if I stay, we could get stuck for 2 days, and making that decision, like realizing that you're gonna make or break the race right here. And then right after you fly the timing line and you're airborne and you're like, we made that decision, like, let's hope it was the right one. That was the hardest decision to make.
We ended up continuing on to Pinedale, and that was probably one of the best decisions of the race, just because so many other people got stuck in Elko, Nevada due to weather. As we broke out over the mountains coming into Pinedale, there were rainbows, and it was just really beautiful. That was probably the most exciting part during the race.
After making some hard decisions, God reminded them that He was there, guiding them all along the way. Being reminded of God's presence gave them the motivation they needed to get through the next 2 days of flying.
The second day, I knew there were amazing winds at 9,000 feet. The clouds were at 4,000 and we couldn't get above them because you have to stay in visual conditions. So we had to like bite the bullet, stay down low, and that made it really difficult.
We got to the point where we were like, we're so tired, but we can do this. Like, we can make it to the end. We're in front of everybody else. Like, we're getting good wins. Everybody else isn't getting these wins. Like, we can do this. And like realizing that even in like our exhaustion, and we can win, like we can compete. Like that moment that hit me like halfway through the race, I was like, we can do this. Like, we can place top 5.
Temperature 2 knotter, dew point 18, altimeter 300 knotter.
After 3 rigorous days of racing, the Liberty Belles fought hard and finished strong by placing in the top 5 overall and in the collegiate standing.
It was incredible. Like, we weren't expecting to make it that high up in the ranking, but we flew a good race and we worked really hard.
When they called like the top 4 teams, it was Embry-Riddle and Liberty. We're the only ones in there, and we were like, we're literally in this photo with Embry-Riddle, like, and we beat one of the Embry-Riddle teams, like both of us did. So we were in the middle of them. They were like 1 and 4, and we were 2 and 3. And so to just be at that level, and we were like, yeah, like we beat one of the Embry-Riddles, and we're coming for you next year.
Just a great experience all around. I know I'm gonna do it again later. It's like once you start, you can't stop.